Hi everybody, how's it going? Starting this video out, I want to say that this is going to be more of a discussion on Burberry London rather than like a review. So if you're here looking just for a review, that's not really exactly what this is. I do have a review on my channel of Burberry London if you'd like to search that, and there's a lot of great reviews. Joy Amin probably has my favorite review of Burberry London if you want to search for that. But I wanted to do more of a long form discussion about this fragrance. I did a review of this probably 3 years ago, about when I started this channel. And man, it was just one of my favorite fragrances. I loved it. I couldn't stop smelling it. It really made me fall in love with fragrances. And I haven't had a bottle of this in about 3 years. Not long after I made that video, probably, maybe a couple months later, I lost this bottle and I haven't picked it up since. I believe I got a sample of this. I bought like a decant rather, and I wore that for a little bit, but I never had a full bottle again. Why be? I don't. I wanted to try a lot of different fragrances. I know it seems kind of weird. Probably my one of my favorites. I often said this was my favorite, and it always changes. But when you smell something that you really love, then you go, oh yeah, that's my favorite now. Um, but I just like trying lots of new fragrances, so I was kind of just buying that. And remember, I have a lot of different hobbies. I'm sure you do too, other than fragrances. So while Burberry London might be my favorite fragrance, I also have a favorite book, a favorite movie, a favorite video game. So it just kind of went on the back burner a little bit. And I finally decided, what am I waiting for? I'm just going to buy a bottle of this. So I bought a 30 milliliter bottle, little baby bottle. I actually wasn't paying attention. I thought this was like the 100 milliliter bottle when I bought this, but whatever. It's just a little. You see how small this is? It's awfully tiny. But you know what? I kind of like it. It's very compact. Very, very compact. I like this. I've always liked the design of Burberry London. I like this cloth. I like flannel. I always thought this was cool. Some people find it strange, but I've always enjoyed it. And a very nice plastic cap. I always like this cap. And a pretty damn good sprayer. Not anything to write home about, but perfectly functional. Um, Let me tell you why I got this in the first place and why this fragrance is so special to me. When I first started out, I guess you could say my fragrance journey, right? We all have to start somewhere. Originally, I started because I don't know what got me into fragrances. I don't remember the genesis for it, so to speak. But I really wanted something new to try. I thought, I'm going to just buy a fragrance and see if I like it. And if almost less of the smell, but the act of wearing a fragrance is something that I might enjoy, a sort of routine sort of thing. So I bought Cool Water by Davidoff, which is a lot of people's first perfume. Maybe not so much anymore, but a lot of people, that's their first one. And I liked that fragrance. I don't have that anymore, and I kind of would like to get that again. It's one of the few freshy sort of aquatic fragrances that I actually really like. So I think I need to pick that up again. On a tangent, and there's going to be a lot of tangents in this video, the first three fragrances I owned, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't have them anymore other than Burberry London, and they're kind of like some of the best I've tried, and they hit all the marks for me. So I think I might need to buy those again. In my quest for always continually trying to pare down my fragrance collection by buying more fragrances. I think you know what I'm talking about. But I bought Cool Water, and then I said, okay, that's cool. I think I might want to get something a little sweet and gourmand like. I think I might like that. So I picked up Rocha Man, which is, I would say, is a gourmand. It's very chocolatey and has like a raspberry chocolate vanilla vibe to it. And I loved that. I really, really, really liked that fragrance. It actually kind of smells like, the chocolate Axe spray. It smells like that, actually, but a lot higher quality. So I really enjoyed that. And for my last fragrance I bought, I thought three would be a good starting point. I picked up Burberry London. I just thought, okay, it's going to be a little sweet, but it's not going to be as rich and gourmand-like. It might be a good fall scent. It might be a comfort sort of scent. So I picked it up. And of the three, I like them all, but this was my favorite. And that was basically the Holy Trinity for me for a while. And again, as I'm reiterating, I think that might be the Holy Trinity for me. I need to get back and get those and kind of try wearing all those three as a rotation sort of thing. I like that kind of organization sort of thing that might work. But Burberry London, when I smelled it, man, it was game over. I've often said that, we all, us fragrance fanatics, we have tons of colognes and perfumes, and we're always trying to pare them down, and then we just keep getting more. And you oftentimes go through the motions of being a fragrance fan. And occasionally you do smell a fragrance that reminds you why you're a fragrance fan. Not just someone who wears cologne, but like in the fragrance community. Like this is a big hobby for you. It's not just an accessory that you wear. And this was the first one that did it for me. The second one was, and perhaps there's only really been three that have like knocked me out of my chair, and it's been Dior Fahrenheit, Burberry London, and Happy Land Studio, Happy Land Signature. Those three made me really think about fragrances in a different way. They smelled so good and were just so comforting to me. They made me realize that fragrances are not just something that you wear as an accessory, something that smells good, but they're something that can give you a peace of mind. They're something that can bring back memories. Scent memory, we always talk about that, but really, unless you've experienced it, it's something that you don't expect from just, I'm going to spray a fragrance on, and then it's like your pupils dilate and you see into the past. It really can be a life-changing thing for some people. So this was the first fragrance I wore where when I sprayed it, and I remember the moment, talking about scent memory and memories in general, I remember the exact moment I sprayed this for the first time. I opened it out of the box. I was so excited to try it. And I just sprayed it in my room. And I had heard about it, fall in a bottle, Christmas in a bottle. But I smelled it. And yeah, I don't know. I was love at first sniff. And it just kind of, I felt this wash of calmness over my body. I thought, oh, I think I've made the right choice. I think that this is going to be the hobby for me. So really, this fragrance kind of did get me into the fragrance community, I think, overall. It's not the first one I bought, but I think all-encompassingly, this was the one that really sealed the deal for me. And every time I smell it, like those other two I mentioned, it brings me back. I've smelled plenty of outstanding fragrances that I think are masterpieces, but they don't take me back to that moment, that time I first fell in love with fragrances, right? They don't do that. This one, of course, does. So that's just why I love it. It's so comforting. It smells so good to me. It reminds me of good times, and I don't ever really get sick of it. I have fragrances that, again, I consider pretty much masterpieces. I have fragrances that just smell so damn good to my nose. But I don't think I could wear them every day. This is a fragrance I could wear the rest of my life, and I'd be kind of okay with that. This kind of, when I first sprayed this, had this piney sort of smell. A lot of people talk about Christmas in a bottle, fall in a bottle, but I often don't see the pine mentioned so much. There is no pine listed. There's a lavender bergamot sort of opening that's listed, which is kind of par for the course with almost every men's fragrance, which I don't necessarily get. But the thing you'll find with this fragrance, in my opinion, is that it's extremely well blended. It really is doing two things, I feel. It has this fall in a bottle vibe, this sort of mold. It almost smells like mulled wine, like spiced wine in a big bowl of that just glorious spiced fall winter wine. And almost like potpourri, if you were to get, it always reminds me of this, but when you have a fake Christmas tree, you know how sometimes you can buy like pine spray and you'll spray your tree so it all smells good. And sometimes at like Christmas tree shops and stuff, you'll find like those winter scented sort of sprays. You spray your wreath or your decorations, your house is smelling Christmassy. That's kind of what this reminds me of. And I'm not like amazingly huge on Christmas, but I don't know, that winter kind of season, I don't know, it kind of makes me happy. So it reminds me of that. And it's also doing this kind of masculine, woody, piney green sort of thing. There's leather in here. There's oak moss, not a real oak moss anymore. I've never smelled the original, but this just smells wonderful. I can only imagine the original had a little more oomph to it with real kind of oak moss, absolute or whatever they used. Absolute, probably not the right word, but um, it's really got those two things going on. This kind of, and I guess you could lump the tobacco into that as well. It often gets called like a tobacco style scent, and I've never really found that to be the case. I will tell you, and we'll kind of go a little more in depth, I suppose. The dry down, I definitely get pipe tobacco, but it's so well blended up at the front, I don't really pick that out necessarily. But it does those two sorts of things very well. Um, some people say they're reminded of like Spice Bomb and things like that, or it smells like Spice Bomb. I don't think it smells like Spice Bomb. I think that this fragrance is pretty unique. I don't think I've ever really smelled anything like this. There are certainly fragrances with a sweet winter spice vibe like Spice Bomb, but it doesn't smell exactly like this. This is just a incredibly unique scent. And going on another tangent, when I did get this, I was trying to find fragrances that smelled like this and fragrances that were the same thing where they were just so overwhelmingly unique. And I didn't really find and haven't really found anything that really, when I smelled it, was like, this is so unique. And I guess that goes back to the like smelling the fragrance that makes you fall in love with fragrances again. I guess that is the unique fragrance, like Fahrenheit. I've never smelled anything that really comes close to smelling like Fahrenheit or like Happy Land Signature. I guess there probably are those. I haven't really seeked out a lot of fragrances that smell like those two. Maybe there are. Probably more with Happy Land Signature, but I don't think with Fahrenheit. I mean, I've smelled clones here and there of these, but that's a clone, you know, and they're not as good, but they're close. Some are pretty close. Um, yeah, but when I first sprayed this, I got that pine vibe. I got that just mulled wine sort of smell, and it was just wonderful. And that's kind of what I get at the top. I'm just gonna spray this. See if I can get the sprayer in for you. The sprayer's pretty adequate. Oh, it's so lovely at the top. I think this is a very inoffensive fragrance, personally. It's one of those ones that you might not be totally into, but it seems so inoffensive to me. A little bit fresh, I guess that's where the bergamot comes in. You don't really pick that out per se, but it's probably acting to make it kind of fresh. And yeah, I get a touch of pine. The pine doesn't stick out too much. I wouldn't call this a green fragrance, but there are green notes in here. And the thing I like about this fragrance is that these green notes, to me, actually smell foresty. Like a lot of times people will say, oh yeah, this green fragrance is so great. It smells like the forest. And it never does. It just smells like cologne to me. And this one does have green notes that smell of the forest. Pine and I guess oak moss. I don't know what they used for the oak moss in here, but it does smell like that. And I love that. The only other fragrance I've ever worn that has realistic sort of foresty smells is Walled by Euphorium Brooklyn, a niche indie house that is outrageously expensive. And I don't like that fragrance as much as I like this. But yeah, that piney sort of smell. It's just indescribably good. As this dries down, that's when the pipe tobacco kind of thing comes out. And it smells like, if this could be a thing, Christmassy pipe tobacco. Some people have said cherry pipe tobacco. I could kind of see that. Just a lovely, smooth, very smooth. This is a very smooth fragrance. I personally don't get anything rough. Some people have said the opening's a little rough. I could see that perhaps because of that piney, bright sort of smell. I don't really get that though. I think the other sweet spice factors pull us back. But that pipe cherry tobacco, Christmassy tobacco, is really what the dry down smells like to me. Now, this fragrance doesn't have very good performance. It's not terrible though. I see a lot of people say that the performance is just awful. I think that's kind of an exaggeration, and I think that, I don't know, whatever, if you don't like it, you don't like it, but I do think people exaggerate how bad performance is sometimes. And I'm totally generalizing, so please don't take too much offense. I'm being a little over dramatic, I guess, for comedic or entertaining purposes. But I do find a lot of young people kind of are obsessed with performance, almost to the point I see where it's like performance is the most important thing, and what the fragrance actually smells like comes second. I kind of see that sometimes. I don't know. Um, and yeah, I do see people say like oh, you put this fragrance on, you get in your car and go to work, and by the time you're at work, the fragrance is gone. I just can't agree. I don't think that's true. Um, this doesn't last for 24 hours like my Happy Lands do. It's kind of hard going back to a fragrance after wearing a Happy Land Studio fragrance that lasts nearly 24 hours. Any performance is going to seem very weak in comparison. I would say this is probably under average. I normally get 4 to 5 hours out of this, which is not great, but it's not 30 minutes. This does become a skin scent pretty quickly, and maybe people are just, I don't know if a lot of people want beast mode fragrances a lot these days. I kind of feel like they do, like, I don't know, beast mode panty dropper fragrances, man. Is it beast mode? Does it last for, I don't know, 150 hours on your skin? If it doesn't, I don't want it. I kind of feel like a lot of people have that idea. I don't know. Um, but yeah, I get about 5 hours. It's not the best, but it does become a skin scent. And I think it projects moderately well for like an hour. I don't know. I think people get anosmic to a lot of fragrances and don't realize it. I've worn this before and I kind of, God, it's just so good. I've worn this before and it's been on my skin for like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and then I've gotten with it. I'm like, I can't smell this anymore. Or it's like a skin scent. The projection bubble that I can smell myself is gone after like 30 minutes or so, 45 minutes. And then I get in a car with someone, and the instant I walk in the car, they go, "Oh my God, that smells amazing. What is that?" So I think that you do perhaps get a little anosmic to it. But yeah, it does last for about 5 hours, which isn't great. But if, I'm not trying to shit talk here. If you only wear fragrances because you want them to be absurdly loud and you want everyone to, you want to force everybody in the room to smell you, then that's your prerogative. That's fine. I'm not like that, and I can't do that for my job. I cannot. I would probably get fired if I showed up smelling strongly of cologne. So this kind of is a perfect cologne for me. I can put it on an hour or two before work or whatever, and it's just gonna sit really close to the skin. That's more my thing, though. I just thought I would mention that. But yeah, I'm going on a long time here. I think I'll wrap it up. But Burberry London, man, it's magical for me. I think it's my favorite fragrance. I go back and forth, but it always changes. But yeah, I think it's my favorite. I don't think I'm ever going to get sick of it, I should say, even if it's not currently my favorite fragrance. I don't think I can get sick of this, and I'm always going to remember the first time I sprayed this. And I can't say the same about other fragrances. I can't even remember when I got a lot of my other fragrances, even though I love them. I will never, ever forget the first moment I sprayed this, the memories that I was flooded with when I smelled it, and the feeling of comfort and warmth I get when I smell this. It's definitely a fall and winter scent, although I've worn it in the summer, and it's just fine. I don't think it becomes very cloying. And it's good for feeling good. When you're feeling really good, it boosts my confidence. And it's a rainy, drab day out, and it still feels appropriate. So I don't know. This is kind of signature scent worthy for me. I think it's very versatile. It has a lot of good things going for it. I think it's totally inoffensive. I think it's office safe if you wear one or two sprays. If you put, I'm starting to be a little kind of a douchebag, but I don't know. It's kind of we're kind of wrapping this video up. But I saw somebody like, I wore 6 sprays of this, and it was pretty adequate. I'm thinking like, you're gonna be smelled if you. I'm in New York. If you wear 6 sprays, they're gonna smell me all the way down to Texas. Okay, that's a lot of sprays to put on. But hey, to each their own. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this. I know this is a wicked long video, but it's very important to me. It is. I had to make this video. So if you've worn Burberry London, let me know if you like it. I know a lot of people don't like it, and that's fine too. But I also like to know what your magic scent is. That scent that you smell that made you fall in love with fragrances, that brings back those memories. What is that one for you, or how many do you have? Yeah, that's that. I hope you enjoyed this. I'll be back with first impressions of the entire line of Authenticity perfumes. I thought it would be fun to do a first impressions whole line again. I've done that before, and I thought it'd be really fun to do that again. So there's a lot of videos coming that are fragrance related, that are first impressions. So that's what you have to look forward to. Take care, everybody. Peace out. Have a wonderful day. Smell good. See you later.